and welcome to the group chats on Footy Accumulators, where I'll be joined by Alan McInally and a special guest each week to discuss the weekend's fixtures. Now, all we want to do is suggest some bets to try and help you win some money. And this week, we have the pleasure of being joined by somebody who played a key role in Manchester City's history.
Yeah, did he ever? Delighted to say Paul Dickov is with his ex-Arsenal, ex-Leicester and ex-Manchester City. And he did score one of the most famous goals for Manchester City back in the day, an equaliser against Gillingham in the playoff final.
20 years ago.
Was it 20 years ago?
Yeah.
You were taller then, weren't you?
I think I only scored one goal in my whole career. I'm still living off the back of it now.
Paul,
Brilliant.
ignore him, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. All the better for being here, thank you.
Why, thank you very much, Paul, you charmer. Right, each week we are going to pick a game to focus on as our match in focus. And this weekend, we've gone for the Super Sunday Clash, which sees your former side, Leicester City, Paul, take on Everton in the 4:30 kickoff. So let's get straight into it then. Managers. We've got Brendan Rodgers and Marco Silva at pretty much opposite ends of the scale there, haven't we, lads?
Absolutely. Brendan's come down. I know people say they had an easy job up at Celtic, but you know yourself, big man, it's a tough job, high pressure job. And
absolutely.
He's come down, completely changed, not just how they play, things behind the scenes, the whole atmosphere at the club, and deserves so much credit because they've got some wonderful players as well.
Are you surprised he's done so well? Because he has done fantastically well.
I was more surprised at somebody like Arsenal.
Yeah.
Or I know Frank's doing well at Chelsea now, but at that time they were talking about changing managers that didn't have a go, about getting Brendan in because he plays wonderful football, wonderful attacking football, but he's at a club that made a decision straight away. You know, they didn't want to wait to the end of the season to go and get him from Celtic. They wanted him now, and that's happening. Done well end of last season, and they are absolutely flying at the minute.
Same can't be said though, can it, for Marco Silva's Everton? Well, we say Marco Silva's right now, Marco Silva's Everton.
They're having an absolute nightmare. I mean, I went to a couple of weeks ago, I was at the Everton game, the Watford game at Goodison, Paul. Yeah. As you can imagine, it's a great football stadium, packed to the rafters. They were almost booing after 15, 20 minutes, and they're struggling so badly. They
are, and the fans are right. You know, I was laughing and joking with my boys the other day there and saying I think the last manager that home fans were singing "You're getting sacked in the morning" was I was managing at Doncaster. they used to sing that every week.
So you know how it feels.
Yeah, but I know, but you just don't know what's going wrong. He's got some wonderful players.
Spent a lot of money.
Spent a lot in the summer.
Sigurdsson, Moise Keane, Richarlison, Bernard, they would walk into a lot of teams in the Premier League, but he's just not getting them performing.
I mean, Marco Silva, I mean, just had a quick look, I know we're talking about betting, etc. Marco Silva, 3-1 to be the next Premier League manager to leave. I'm
all over that, Alan. You know, and it's difficult for me being an ex-manager, and I know it was lower down because you know how difficult the job can be, but to have your own fans booing, you have the players that have got. I was actually surprised he's not went before now and before the game at the weekend.
Who can you see replacing him?
Well, a lot of talk about Eddie Howe, obviously, about Moise going back in there.
Yeah.
And the big one at the minute is Jorge Jesus, who's at Flamengo, who's turned, it's Brazilian, but Portuguese, knows the Premier League. And he seems to be the one at the minute.
I don't know how popular Moise would be. I don't know whether the Everton fans want that. I think Mark Hughes' name was thrown in the. I mean, incidentally, when we talk about Marco Silva, he was the man that Everton wanted, Paul.
Yep.
You know, they lauded him, got him. And for what reason, I don't know. You tell me. Why has it not worked?
It was the next best thing at the time, you know. But you look at it, and I don't think he's had 40 games at each club he's at, apart from Everton. You know, when he was at Hull, didn't have many Premier League games under his belt.
No.
And then at Watford, not many Premier League. So I was slightly baffled why Everton pulled out all the stops, and they made it clear that that's who they wanted to go and get. He's went in there. He's got good players. He's had a lot of money to spend as well, and a lot of backing over the last couple of years, but it's just not worked out.
It's not been good, is it? Leicester 8-13, so they're short, but maybe not as short as what they might think they might have been. 3-1 the draw and 9-2 Everton. So if you're right, Paul, then 8-13 might be the place to go. We have a group chat request a bet as well. We're going to have one of these every week. This week it's going to be over 2.5 goals in the game. Perez to score and Mina to be carded. So check the Footy Accumulators Betting Hub app to see the price on this special. And incidentally, when I say Perez, he was at Newcastle. Leicester was like, we'll take him, but he could have been here a lot earlier than that.
A lot. He slightly dodged a bullet, I think. So when
Tell us the story. This is a brilliant story.
Yeah, so I was Oldham manager 2012-13. I got recommended some Real Madrid Segunda B players. Obviously the players that weren't going to get into Madrid's team, and they were playing Tenerife B at Madrid's training ground. So we went along there, and I was expecting Real Madrid to batter them. Tenerife B won 6-0, and a certain Jose Perez scored a hat-trick and looked $1 million as well.
What age would he have been then, Paul?
18.
Okay.
17, 18, but he stood out like a sore thumb. He was just, his ability and his finishing was unbelievable. A Madrid-based agent who I know fairly well got in contact with his family because Tenerife had to release all the players, and I thought he was actually coming to Oldham. I thought I'd swam the channel.
How much were they looking for him?
It was nothing at the time for a free.
Oh, wow.
But because there was, what I didn't realise, being naive as a young manager, there was a training compensation from UEFA that had to be, which turned out to be €400,000, which was 1 million times my budget at Oldham at the time.
Yeah, Oldham didn't have that kind
I
of
know, but you've got to say the boys done not too bad since then. And as I say, probably
brilliant.
What a story.
Tenerife to Oldham, eh?
By the way, what a bullet that was he dodged.
Massively. Me managing them.
No, but obviously it's incredible that you could spot that talent then.
Yeah, it was, and look, I was very lucky that I had relationships with other managers, and Jose Mourinho was a Madrid manager at the time, and he'd recommended some players for me to go and watch, and you've got to go and try and watch them, but it didn't quite come off.
Oh, incredible story. Thank you, Paul. Right, we move on now to the weekend nap challenge. Now, how this works is, Alan, every week you are going to do yours, and you're going to pit yourself against the guest. Of course, you this week, Paul. Now, if you lose, you are going to have a forfeit, which can be decided by you, the people at home, so be as cruel as you like.
What can you mean forfeit?
Can I pick the forfeit?
No,
hang on.
choice.
Like, you can suggest one.
I'll suggest one, yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. Well, yeah.
Not on camera.
No,
Yeah, we'll save that. You can select the forfeit.
So what you're saying is if the guest beats me, I have to forfeit. But if I beat the guest, then, ladies and gentlemen, you have
I'm not
to
sure
do the
about that.
forfeit.
No,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Well, so hang on. So if you lose, you have to have the forfeit. But if you win, I do the forfeit.
Fabulous.
Okay, be really kind with the
Fabulous
suggestions
idea.
then, please.
Fabulous idea.
Be gentle.
Get into the Twitter and the Facebook and on YouTube, etc., and see what kind of forfeit she's going to do next week. Incidentally, my nap, I've gone to the FA Cup, and incidentally, the other thing, of course, is it's easy just to pick a 1-6 or a 1-7 Man City or Liverpool at home. We're not having that. The nap has to be a minimum of even money or better. So I've gone for Forest Green to beat Carlisle in the FA Cup.
Why?
Because they will.
Nice.
Because Carlisle have been struggling badly away from home, their form's been poor, but even money Forest Green I think is an absolute great price.
Did you not want to hear my pick before you agreed to doing a
go
forfeit
on.
That's a good
afterwards?
point.
Go on.
Who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday to win away at Charlton.
What?
At Charlton.
At Charlton. Lee Boyer's done a great job there, but they've not won their last 6 games.
But they had a great start to the season. Mind you, Gary Monk's a bit spicy at the minute, though.
He is. He's on it at the minute. They're just outside the playoffs, Sheffield Wednesday, and Charlton free fall a little bit bottom half. So
Sheffield Wednesday for you to go to Charlton.
Fancy it big time.
Against Forest Green at home to Carlisle in the FA. Are you happy
I've
with
got
his
a
choice,
horrible
by the way?
feeling
Trust me,
that I'm going to
I'm
be
on
doing the
this one.
forfeit, aren't I? Cheers, Paul. Thank you. I'm really glad you came. Thank you.
Much,
All right,
thanks
big
very
man.
much.
See you after, yeah?
Well, there's the nap challenge. Like I say, feel free to send in your forfeits. And now I want you to be extra kind, please. Now let's move on to our group chat ACCA. So it's going to include 3 teams as selected by you, the Footy Accumulators followers, and 1 team that we between ourselves select. Now you have chosen Leeds, Derby, and Hull City. So lads, who do you think we should add to the bet?
Who do you think?
Well, I'd go for Leeds, but you've already picked that. So
No, we're not going. I can't even believe Leeds is in it. It's a tough game against Borough, I think.
Tough.
Yeah,
Have
honestly.
you seen how Leeds are doing?
I know, but
Listen,
I'm not
I'd
having
go
that.
for Leeds. I think you made the right call.
Well,
Who are you going for?
I don't know yet. Because, what do you want?
I fancy Bristol City to win at home to Huddersfield.
Why is
Bristol
that?
City at home.
Yeah, I know that Cowley brothers have went into Huddersfield. Stuttering start, not won their last 3 games. Bristol City only lost 3 games all season, point outside the playoffs. Play some great football, especially at home. You know, and Lee Johnson, not just because he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I want to see him doing really well. And you're talking about Everton managers and young managers coming through. He's done an unbelievable job at Bristol City, and you know, you just wonder when young British managers are going to come through. You know?
Well, that the Leeds against Borough, Derby against QPR. I think Wayne Rooney might be attending that game. And Hull away at Barnsley was 7s. What price is Bristol City?
That is 6-5. So the fourfold on that is 16-1. So with your Bristol City beating Huddersfield, that isn't bad at all. Yeah. And actually, what we're going to do for you is we're going to put £20 on that accumulator, which if it can return approximately £320. And if it wins, that could be yours. Even if it loses, we're going to give you £50 in cash. Not bad, that is it? Win-win either way.
And they win it?
All you need to do, thank you, Alan. All you need to do is to back that bet is to go to the Footy Accumulators Betting Hub app. Best of luck.
Perfect. So remember, share your bets with us on Footy Accumulators across Twitter, on Facebook, and also comments on YouTube. And of course, like Emma quite rightly said, Footy Accumulators Betting Hub app. And there will be a question about our guest on the
Twitter. What do you think that question could be? What could we?
Oh.
You know Paul well, don't you?
Oh, I can't. Well, there's a couple of questions I could have in there, but nobody would get.
We'll leave that for when the filming's over, shall we?
I was going to try and enter, but I'll probably get it wrong. Anyway, about myself anyway in the first place.
We'll make sure it's a nice, easy one, but it'd be nice to win either 50 quid or certainly if we can get that accumulator up over $300. Pretty good.
Yes, absolutely. Like we say, we just want to help you win a little bit of cash. Now, do remember, you have to be over 18 and please do gamble responsibly. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Alan,
thanks for having us.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you very
Paul.
much. Best of luck with your bets.